Next up on the Kirby Fix It and Shine It Up and Put It Back Together list is my Kirby G4. This is my very first G-Series Kirby, this exact model. Obviously, I have many other Kirbys, but this one was the first, and I got it at the end of 2014. So while I've done some work to it a number of years ago, I haven't touched it in a while because it's got some issues, age-related issues, and let's see if you can hear them. So I got the transmission in neutral. Maybe let's grease up those rear axle bearings. That's one of them. Here's another issue. That is excessive wind down time. So that's going to mean front and rear motor bearing. And then the other thing is, you've heard this in some of my later G4 videos, which were posted some time ago. Sounds like this. What a great wind down. Lasts forever. So the transmission grind. So bottom line is, I may need to actually swap this transmission out. And all that is in addition to, yeah, definitely time to shine this baby up. So long time ago I did sand it, but I did not have the same polishing rig as I do now, and that will certainly make it a lot shinier. So let's go ahead and break this guy down, and I might actually do some of the motor related stuff in the rear axles before I start shining the metal up. Oh, there is there is no grease in this at all. None. The rear bearing has Zippo. Let me see if I can change this here. Look at this right here. This is hilarious. Watch this. That is not what you want. There's no grease in there whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. Oh, brother. And here's the front bearing. And yes, it is in really sad shape. Definitely very sad shape. Look at the grease on that thing. It's just, I mean, it's chunky. So it's just grease isn't supposed to do that. Not in good shape anyway. That's just hilarious. And the bearings themselves, yeah, that's pretty awful. Ooh. So of course, that's definitely going to get replaced. Eesh. It is really terrible looking. Okay, so let's get to cleaning and bearing replacement and whatever else we got to do. Time for a little careful vacuuming. Good. That did it. Can't believe it. I forgot a piece. Forgot that guy. That's actually all right. I think I glued that back on. Alright, so I'll have to leave that like that. So rather than showing you the exact same parts, or something that seems like it's the exact same parts, being polished over and over again, I'll just show you the results. So this is my, obviously, dirty, icky G4. Hasn't been polished and cleaned up in a long time. It really needs a good cleaning. So off I go, and a few hours later we'll have all of these parts nice and shiny. Now everything has been shined up, and I've got 2 new bearings I need to put in. The old one's still on that shaft, and need to grease those 2 rear axle bearings. So let's get started putting this G4 back together. let's see where we are with this G4. So I have it in neutral, and yep, totally, utterly quiet no matter what I do. No more snoring or clacking or whatever you want to call it. That's fantastic. So let's hear the motor wind up and wind down with new front and rear bearings. Much faster. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so motor bearings are in great shape. So let's drive it and see what happens with the transmission whine. Okay, obviously that did not help the transmission whine at all, and I can't say I really expected it to because we didn't touch the transmission. But you can see just out of frame, although now it's in frame, my donor G3, and that's different than my regular G3. That's my donor G3, and my donor G3 has a transmission that sounds better than what's in the 4. So I'm going to swap out the body of the 4's transmission for the 3's transmission, and we'll see if this sounds any better. The G4 is finally complete, and I even have the front belt lifter label put back on. I did the transmission swap with my donor G3, and while it certainly isn't perfect, it's definitely better. So this is how it's going to stay for a while until maybe I find another donor machine with a better sounding transmission. But here it is. Great wind down now, nice and short. All right, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for, I think I'm going to tear into my G6. That one could use probably, I don't know, some bearings, front and rear, and maybe some axle grease.